You know that feeling, right? If you're a primary caregiver, I am sure you do. You're doing so much, you desperately need a hand. But getting help from your own family can feel, well, impossible. Today, we're going to tackle the top excuses you hear, and more importantly, give you some real practical strategies to turn those no's into actual support.
So, does this ring a bell? The second you ask for a little help, suddenly everyone's calendar is just packed. Or maybe they just kind of disappear. It is so frustrating and it's incredibly isolating. And I bet you're nodding along right now because you have lived this. But you are definitely not alone.
And look at this. This really puts it into perspective. 50%. A 2020 report from AARP found that half of all family caregivers are doing it with no help from anyone else. So if you feel like you're stranded on an island, just know it is a very, very crowded island.
And the thing is, the consequences of going it alone are serious. I mean, it's a fast track to complete and total burnout. It builds up this resentment that can really poison family relationships. And probably most important of all, it takes a massive, massive toll on your own health, both physical and mental. All right, so let's dive into the first big excuse. And this one might sound absolutely bonkers to you, but from their point of view, your relatives might honestly think you've got it all handled. They see how strong you are, how competent you are, and they just mistake that for not needing any help at all. They'll say stuff just like this, with absolutely no idea of the exhausting reality you're living behind the scenes every single day. And here's the bottom line. They don't get it. What they see is just the tip of the iceberg. They don't see all the stuff happening beneath the surface. The unbelievable amount of time, the emotional energy, the personal sacrifices you make. And you know what? Just telling them about it usually doesn't cut it. So the solution is you have to make all that invisible work visible. You can't just tell them. You got to show them. And you can start small. Ask for help with something concrete and maybe not so personal, like sorting through a confusing insurance claim. Then, next time they visit, have them come over when you're doing a real care task. You could say, "Hey, can you pop over around 8? I'll be getting mom ready for bed and could use an extra hand." Let them see it and feel it for themselves. Okay, on to excuse number 2. This is the one from the relative who seems willing to help. They say, "Just tell me what to do." But that question, oh man, it can be so exhausting because it puts all the mental work right back on your shoulders. Now, this slide just nails the difference. Look at the left side. A vague cry for help like, "I need some help with mom this week," is so easy to brush off. But now look at the right. "Can you meet me at mom's house at 2 p.m. next Saturday to help declutter for 3 hours?" Bam! It has a day, a time, a place, a duration, and a really clear task. It makes it so much easier for them to just say yes and plug it right into their calendar. And that brings us to our third big excuse. This one, it really comes from a place of fear. See, you had to learn everything on the job as you went, but other people, they've been on the sidelines, and honestly, now they're just intimidated by the whole thing. They look at you like you're the expert, and they are genuinely afraid of doing something wrong, afraid they might hurt your loved one or that they'll just make your job even harder. And that fear, it can be totally paralyzing. It's a real reason why they don't step up. So the fix here is for you to become a gentle trainer. Just invite them over to hang out while you go about your routine. Let them just watch. And as you do things, just talk them through it. You know, something simple like at lunchtime, you could say, "I'm just cutting up this chicken into smaller pieces so it's easier to chew. That way he won't choke." It takes the mystery out of it, and it slowly builds their confidence until they actually feel ready to try. So let's pull all this together. Once you start to understand the why behind these excuses, you can start to shift the whole dynamic, from you being a solo act to you building a real team effort. And this is so important. This is not about making your siblings feel guilty or pointing fingers. It's about you stepping into a new role, the role of a strategic leader or a team captain. You're creating a system that can actually last, one that supports not just your loved one, but supports you too. All right, so let's quickly recap what we talked about. First, and I really want you to hear this, your feelings of being overwhelmed are 100% valid. Second, figuring out the why behind the excuse, that's your first step to finding a solution. Third, remember this, specific, direct communication is your superpower. And last, please don't ever forget that you absolutely deserve a circle of support. This should not be a solo burden. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. You have the tools now.
You've got the strategies. Just think for a second. Who is the first person you are going to call? And what is the one specific, actionable thing you can ask them to do this week? Who's it going to be?
We really hope you found this explainer from DailyCaring.com helpful. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button and maybe even subscribe to the Caregivers channel for more just like this.